Right, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to head over to the commentary team once again for Group A, Erangel.
Thank you, and they want more exciting circles, they want up in the north. I want more action, just give me that PUBG action right about now. I'm looking forward to this. I love the concept of all of this. You've got the big dogs facing off against the hungry upcoming teams trying to prove who wants it the most. And in Group A so far, we're seeing some exciting names coming through. I know a lot of people looking at Reciprocity, mostly because Scoom is now, mostly a commentator. I'm kidding. But a lot of people looking at some of these teams going, okay, when's their chance at it? And now this is a really good testing point of where they match up. Who are you eyeing up here? You got to cast the first game. Who stood out to you?
I think definitely Reciprocity. I need Scoom to kind of do well because then
basically
my job is kind of saved then. Because if he comes to this, we're all in trouble. You have to put your eyes on Navi, right? After the difficult turmoil they went through in Phase 1, a rough start, things started coming together towards the end. I'm not going to say it's the be-all and end-all. It's Game 1. Anything can happen. Again, the Game 1 that we saw back with TSM of Phase 1, they went huge and then end up around the 8th, 9th area. So anything can happen on a day 1. But certainly a good start for them, putting this roster together. They knew what was going to happen. It looks like, and again, it was one of those point and pull the trigger kind of decisions. By the phase was done, right, we're going to switch the team. It's over. So clearly there was turmoil across the roster. Nice start from them. Certainly a rough start from Reciprocity. But again, getting sandwiched between two broken teams is always going to be a bit of a problem. And here's an early start. Vitality. Jazz are getting stuck in. And he's over at school, I believe.
Oh, Rafi's found him. The one time you want it in hand, Crumb's going to try and trade it. He's going to get right back in. That's a 1-for-1 trade out. But what a big loss to start with. We're getting action at school. I love seeing this. This is when you got the plebs in chat going, where's Shroud? Shroud would win this. Look at the circle, Richard. I've just seen it. They wanted a northern circle. You're not getting one.
Brendan, if you're out there with your circle magic button, you just got this kind of like mouse over macro. It's like, haha, circle. Balls to you. There it is. Job done. We're going to Millie once again. Now, this will be, I think, a really good time for Unity to make something happen. For the simple fact that they were on Novo previously, and they ended up bombing out, I think it was first. They've actually got a knocked player on that opposing side, so they'll probably get him up rather sharpish. This is going through the replays. Again, good answer back and a good response to part of the MAC-10.
Nice quick trade. You got to appreciate that, just gunning right into it. Not allowing time for recovery, reloads, just quick trades. I love to see that.
It's it feels like matchmaking, old school matchmaking. Like, this used to be the hot drop zone, right? You would either go here or over to apps, and back in the old...
Shout out in the plane, go to school.
Yeah, we're all going there, and 16 other billion people would be with you. Like, well, this is all kinds of dangerous. Looks like Rec will disengage from this one, go get the vehicles and get themselves back together. Looking towards Pachinki potentially for them. I mean, you can see that's where they're kind of magnetized towards, maybe the outskirts, because in Pachinki, we do have Se7en kicking around here, so they have to be careful. Se7en are running this one for now. And this kind of what is fun, and the same scenario when we went towards London, for instance, is it's okay seeing these lobbies now, but then when we go to grand finals, you're going to have these crossovers, because we have these crossovers of essentially two different leagues, a Contenders and a full pro league. Teams will have crossover drop zones, and we are going to get these early engagements. You love to see it, even as a viewer, as a player. Okay, it can be difficult, but you've got, this is PUBG. You have to be able to stand your ground and do the job rather than resting on these gentleman agreements all the time.
Of course. And we saw teams struggling with it throughout the Global Summit. I think that was quite prevalent. I think Pachinki was the death and the rebirth of some of these teams. However, we haven't seen too much. We saw, I think the Des brought up very well, and Georgia Pol especially, teams shuffling a little bit here and there. Some minor adjustments, some bigger than others, potentially changing up those loot routes depending on how much it's going to affect them. But for me, I think the storyline, again in my head, always comes to the point of the likes of UT, who are down in Novo. And I was over with the desk very briefly, and they were discussing their positioning, and they were very slow to get up towards the radar tower. And I'm looking at some of the kind of more upcoming teams. I'm hoping find that form. Maybe lacking some of that quick confidence and those quick decision-making skills we see rife among the higher-end scene, especially because if you see those opportunities, they grab them with both hands. So I'm curious to see if this happens again. I'm wondering the adjustments we see coming towards this, the early rotations coming out from certain teams that we saw very similar to the last circle, because to a certain degree, it's just as polarizing.
I love how you touched on it, because that's exactly what I said in the first instance. The fact that they landed in Novo did Unity. They didn't adjust quick enough. They didn't go to the aerial tower. Everyone else just bombed in, and they bombed out in 16th, which You literally cannot when you own that town. We have to look across at this next one because it looks like Raise Your Edge are making a push here and we need a home.
Yeah, they're being aggressive about this. They're not holding back at all. Fastrail's going pretty aggressive. He does have support behind him, holding the lines of sight, but first bit of contact's made and a great delivery of the bullets coming out there. Lipson gonna go down first. Trying to bait on the shot. You've got 1 HP. This might be a little bit too far. Fall back, get the heal. Depend on your teammates because they've got firepower too. You've got Minox going in there. You've got Chris coming in. They need to keep this sort of pressure up though.
Reach with the SLR, certainly not the best weapon if you want to take a one-on-one engagement up close and personal like this. Any grenade through the letterbox would be job done. It's going up and over. Clearly, I'm surprised they didn't put it through the window to maybe take her out there, but here comes the 3-man push. This should be an instant flush. Pollard's coming back to try and fight this one. Mimo on the offside of the police building. Crystal set the off angle, which is good. I'm surprised they haven't taken her out yet and managed to clear her out from this one. The grenade does go down. That's only the confirmation.
I don't know if they know exactly where she is, if I'm honest. They could probably hear the steps. They can probably hear the shuffling, but again,
is she in the middle? The little...
In the little kind of connecting
that's
piece.
why the grenade's fine. Yeah, that makes sense now.
So for me, I think they're
the nade! That's over the building!
That was so good. Menox, what is that arm?
Oh, please tell me we got a replay of that. We only just copped the back end of it, but that was good Lord. That was a long ball, if I've ever seen one. That was
so good.
Over the building and hit him in the vehicle.
Yeah, I would love to see that again. We are seeing the confirmation on some of these kills now coming through. Fastrail getting the loot on. Chris, I think, did the work required as well. And I like Raise Your Edge being aggressive. I like them not holding back. That, to me, is a good sign. I want more of that.
So there's two things from their stance. I mean, I don't think We Need a Home's got a very good loot drop there. They're going into the back end of Yasnaya, which you're basically going to be playing poor man's loot when you're giving the rest of Raise Your Edge the entirety of Yasnaya. For Raise Your Edge, it's about stamping your ground now and saying, okay, get out of our home, leave us alone, go find somewhere else. And for them, for me, there are other places they could potentially go. The only thing they need to be aware of is that they do make it to finals. You've got all these other teams, like you're looking towards Stalba. Ents are going to be lingering there. You're looking towards Lepovka. You might have an NIP backup drop there. So you have to be aware that this is where you need your analyst, your coach, to be doing the research, doing the homework, and telling them what's free and what's available.
And I can tell you now, I wasn't casting the first game. I was out there. The coaches are watching with, eagle vision, notepads out, taking everything in, making sure they have those right adjustments and assessments on who's going where and where's the best option for their team. However, all the teams are beginning and kind of closing in towards those final first rotations for a couple of them, finding that foot on the ground. I would want to say that we've seen better rotations from certain teams, but again, we're seeing some very passive movements from some of them that are already on that military island quite early on. They're not going for the big land grab, whereas some, I guess, more of the braver teams are just piling in, maybe feeling that they do have that confidence beside them.
So Unity have gone for, just to kind of, while all these rotations are going to come through, Unity have gone for a full wide stack across basically the beachhead of Nova, which stops any interjection from any team here. Yes, this is good because it stops anyone basically coming around the back and being able to backstab you, but it puts them at a disadvantage when the next rotate comes through, and that all these other teams like Digital Athletics are on your screen might take a foothold in the exact same place they did before. Now, this was basically Unity's downfall by fighting an uphill battle, letting teams get ahead of them. This time they're standing their ground in the hopes that maybe they pick up a kill or two, and you might see this as the Knights are working their way towards Nova to beach this. So maybe they get a full 4-man boat here. 4 points would be very nice and instantly jumps up a placement. But you're playing a dangerous game. You're banking on the points here, because once you go forward, you then have to fight teams who are waiting you with open arms.
Okay, then let's discuss who will be in the prime position with those waiting arms. A couple of teams went early on. We are seeing some of them taking the very kind of, I guess, eastern side of the military base itself. Would we say they're the ones to be looking at here, or actually coming back to that point, we do see the couple of the boats getting pressured now, not getting too much damage through towards them, but you do see the tracer fire coming in from Novo. And yeah, where are they going to be coming in towards? I'm not sure if actually...
They're beaching it.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
No! Oh, that is horrifically planned.
The thing is, I mean, we can see, we have the ability of the map to be able to see it, but yeah, it's okay. But this is a ballsy play from Unity, right? They've got the 4 points now, Lauren. But the question is, how much further did they really go in the game? You've got CrowCrowd on the bridge in front of them. Vitality have just beached in front of them. And Digital Athletics are also setting up on the hill in front of them. It's basically be a gauntlet to get out of Novo. They could be clever. They could go down south. But then you have to be aware there's always that one team that beaches the southern end of Sosnovka Island. And that team, it's actually going to be this time Red Diamonds. I don't think we saw them a bit further afield in the previous one, but you always need to be aware you will have that southern team that beaches. But yeah, you're trading off it. Great, you've got 4 points, but I'm intrigued to see how much further they go.
Beyond that, exactly. That's the point. They were the ones who were early into Nova. That is their landing spot. We were expecting, or I was expecting, maybe earlier movements from them this time. Not the case. That aside, they do pick up the kill points. That's always a lovely touch. I think we have to question the Knights' decision-making in that moment. Full committal, just piling in. I mean, Vitality went for something similar, but it's how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Which is kind of interesting because Vitality went for something similar in the previous one, and they lost, all right, a player fell out of the back of it, but he was instantly killed. So it's kind of questionable, I think, for Vitality to do the same again because you're banking on that one. The positive effect, I think, now for Unity is that no one else will do that again. Now that the Knights have basically been punished, it's like, okay, boys, this is our island. We're staying here. If we get another circle like this, don't bother trying something like that. This gives them room to breathe, time to move. But again, we go to Miramar after this, and you're basically banking on milli-circles being able to let that play out.
Yeah, it's a... I mean, Korean teams, it works pretty well for them.
Well, yeah, especially when you get the circles that are kind of down this way.
This is a late positioning from We Need a Home. That's the remaining member after that scuffle on the east side of Yasnaya. That's just towards M19. I'm wondering if there's going to be much coming from this. The players are now turning around for M19, and they do have SLRs. I see minis. I see enough to fight back with. So this might be a bit of an awkward battle on either side, but M19 have plenty of players to be able to work their way forward. And raise your edge. Keep in mind, we have the map stream. We get the information. We get to see what you don't, so we can pretend that we're knowledgeable and build storylines. But now you're going to see. You see Raise Your Edge in the background. They're going to be working their way potentially towards this if they decide to, or they could swing another way. They get the, I guess, benefit of all the information from that little back and forth. We are seeing the teams posturing and trying to show where they're at to a degree to make sure no one else can come towards them. And again, people trying to find ways around brave boat maneuvers here, Jack Sparrow.
I thought we were going to be that one player that's like, I've got a boat, guys, and then beached it as they turn around with the wide turn. It's like, well, we had a boat. We had one. He'll be able to pick up the rest of AVANGAR and make the way in straight across. I don't think the bit of play blues, they'll have to bank it directly, which is actually open, surprisingly.
Okay, we've got a lot going on here. Here's Chris. That's what we want to see. I was about to say, Raise Your Edge. We know they're aggressive anyway. Chris is a Car 98. That is a deadly combination. Now, M19 left a player behind. I don't think they could have swum across comfortably with those shots coming in towards them. So they're actually on the rocks down below Raise Your Edge, and I don't know if they're aware of that. So that could be a little bit of a dagger in the back, and maybe an Arya Stark at some point. No spoilers here. Point is, we're going to see a lot of movement now. These teams compressing towards the center of the Millie base.
That really has centered up, hasn't it? Smack bang in the middle will be the Millie apps. Oh, big rotate. I'm seeing Navi, Besiktas, they're going in. Digital Analytics just on the opposing side. On the opposite end here, Se7en also going to be on the rotate. Same for Digital as they come down from the mountains. Red Diamonds are in one of the bunkers on the end of the runway strip. I think Besiktas are actually banking on this going central because they're moving towards the apps. The big boy public drop that we see so many teams and players like to go for. They're actually looking on the opposing side. Who's that? Okay, so we'll see. AVANGAR have actually made it in, which I'm quite surprised with the boat.
Yeah.
Raise Your Edge are going. They've opted to disdain from water and say, nope, you know what? We'll avoid it. We'll just take the bridge instead because at this rate, no one should be there. But
they also knew there was a fight happening there at some point. They heard those shots. They'll know there's someone at least on that coastline. Is it worth the risk? Probably not.
Set and AWM, that's what I like to see. Set did wonderful things during phase 1 with a sniper rifle, so stick an arm in his hand and we'll see what kind of damage he can do. It all depends, of course, which scope he has. Raise Your Edge are just checking the bridge. No doubt Chris will have a scope on the back of that K9, a bit to see across. Okay, we're clear, let's just go for it. Let's bomb it in there and see what we can do. Maybe they play a blue, which would basically push people forward out of the way. All right, you're going to take damage on arrival. And CrowCrowd on that hillside just to the right, so depending on how they disembark the bridge, might be a problem. Remember, they drive off of this, they're going to be pre-damaged.
Yeah, and we are discussing, we said earlier about UT, what they're going to be, how they're going to approach this, and they're very late on movements. It's not too surprising. We kind of thought that after the first game, they were quite slow on it, and they're sticking to that sort of playstyle. Raise Your Edge are moving in, though. They could have some potential problems. As you mentioned, there's a team waiting to greet them on the way through. A tag or two is going to come in, but they're holding this on for now. They should be able to at least get away from this fire. Give themselves a bit of a chance. This bike's in a bit of trouble. There could be some more shots coming through as they are roughly in the open. But I think they should be able to get to safety, as it looks like Chris and Co have already kind of forged a route through. And I say that, no! That is a shot landing. That took some time to come through. That was with the Mini as well coming in. Raise Your Edge do just about work their way forward, but it looks like they're not going to get much respite here.
I think Se7en will make an advancement on that and maybe stop any kind of sign of being able to get the res here. We look onwards to the public game that's unfolding down inside military. Wrecking the app, Se7en just on the back of the police station. Besiktas and Navi working their way. That'll be off the back of police through satellite. And the garage is outside. Circle, though. A little bit of a hard shift. We go to the north. Desperado's gifted once again. Vitality's in there. M19 set AWM. Finds Menok. She might have had a good game in the previous round, my friend. But he just took a 300 caliber bullet to the brain. He's down. Not out just yet. No confirmation, but certainly Raise Your Edge struggling this one.
Yeah, they really are. Their rotation to the south might be okay if they still had something to work with off the back of these earlier fights, but they're in that horrible thing where they're losing out on all the resources they built up here. Keep your eyes on the bigger picture at this point. Is going to be all the teams compressing again. That line that runs, the road that runs around the northern side of that melee base is going to be littered with players trying to find their way through eventually if it keeps going to a more of a northern pinch on this one towards those hillsides that currently about 3, maybe 4 teams hold their foothold in. Now, the ones in the south that took over the compounds are going to have a real daunting task on hand.
It's quite a brutal circle, this, especially when we look at tendencies where we get them. They mainly go from the back of Sosnovka. When you're looking over military, we see them off the back of that runway area more down south. So to be able to push in the north here, it's caused everyone into a scurry and a flurry. Looks with the opener, finds Erangel, but there is another response there as Ultra turns 2, sends it into 3. Buster's confirmed. Pokemon Lodoi goes down. Yeah. Well, I mean, Elder, to get up there, he must have banked that off the back of the car and crawl. I could see the idea. Oh, Raise Your Edge is gone. Okay, just like that. That's the annihilation. So CC finished them off. 4 men dead and done. 13th, 14th place will be where they finished off. I think Besiktas is just trying to see who else is kicking it around here.
Well, they saw the knock, not the kill. So they're just doing the duty here of going through, ensuring the way forward. Vanguard have gone a bit of a step there towards Na'Vi, potentially. Senya did just get knocked, but you could see potential for the pickup to come in. And Na'Vi could be in a pinch here. M19 are towards the north, and you do have other teams potentially engaging as well. This is going to be pretty brutal for both sides, as it looks like AVANGAR are going to keep pushing this one, but they've got fire coming in as well from the southern side. I don't know who that is.
Oh, that's I believe, UT.
That is
Unity.
UT.
So that's basically a 4-way CIS fight. M19, AVANGAR, Na'Vi. Unity want to step up to this one, so CIS boys might be knocking each other out of this game number 2.
Yeah, the CIS teams are currently clashing heavily. M19's nades are finding pockets to fall in towards, but there's still Na'Vi players around holding on, and I say player, and we do see the Digital Athletics side trying to find their way forward. Lux did get the confirmation on Edelweiss. I'm curious where the rest of the team is. I think they were split slightly further to the south by the missile silos there, but M19 still hold the higher ground here, so they should be laying down some good fire here. It does seem as though a couple of teams who are trying to work their way in from the very further edges in the very far south, for example, are being caught now.
M19 still going hard here. KS17, best of luck confirmed, job done. Elite player steps up, finds Na'Vi napping, trying to heal up in the floor. The rest of the team are just waiting in the distance. AVANGAR need to make something happen. Maxi is a player who we've seen, especially in Minsk, can do wonderful things with that sniper rifle. Senpai comes back onto Melman. That's on the opposing side here. Instant confirmation. CrowCrowd in a 4-man split, slightly 2 in the north, 2 in the south. Snoopy onto elite player. AVANGAR, you got to be careful. They can do some damage themselves. REC are going to be pushing Unity further into that CIS depth here. As they do push up, the smokes are down, but that only gives you basically an indication of where players will be healing up and kicking around. That grenade could do some damage. Maxi knows he needs to run from this because they are raining down nades from above.
Really nice work, though, coming from Unity. They got at least one. They're stepping forward, but they're going to have the same problem we've just seen AVANGAR have, is the fact that M19 still hold the line. The nades are raining in. Nothing too surprising. We're getting used to that sort of meta. D-Mash up on top, though, especially with the scopes. You've got to look at this. M19 are holding all of this together. They don't have a third-party problem coming in from their northern side. They're relatively safe. The AVANGAR remainders are going to start running in. And I say remainders again, it's only one. They lost out on Maxi earlier, so it's just Snoopy running in. Team Rec, Reciprocity are just slightly further to the south. Besiktas are moving in. And this is very, very messy over towards that western side.
Yeah, plenty of broken teams here and individual players. 2 up for Rec, 1 up for AVANGAR, 4 and 4 for M19. Excuse me, no, 3 for M19. 4 still for Unity, who can keep it going. We're looking over to Red Diamonds here as they make their approach. All the way down, up against the blue. Kemba, he might be hiding in the smoke, but that only gives an indication for teams of where these players will be hiding. Spray down comes through with the 3 times, nothing found with the M4. Damage is done, forces him to go back for the heal. Set continuing the damage with the AWM.
Really nice positioning from the Crows. They're just holding the line here. They put players slightly further towards the western side, ensuring that the Red Diamonds couldn't push forward. They need some individual brilliance to allow them a way through this. I don't know if they're going to get it. I'm worried about the remainder here, as we do see Set already trying to readjust. Nades coming out. They've adjusted quickly and smartly, and I like it. Now, the problem is that that's not just one other team on this map. Digital Athletics just got knocked out as well. Big loss relatively early on.
Calvin Klein, another headshot for Kramer. Vitality. Time to fall to the distance of that bullet, because Calvin Klein in the previous round was absolutely on point every single time. Besiktas still kicking around the hillside. All these teams that need to approach them from the southern embankment will have a bit of an uphill battle. You can cover behind the trees there and pretty much just rain down hell from above. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 7. We got Tornado and we got CrowCrowd that might have to encroach on their position. Meanwhile, front and center circle, REC, we got Hacks and we got Scoom. The 2-man band still going strong into potentially top 10 if the CrowCrowd fight does continue through. And there it is. Job done. Red Diamonds are gone.
They are indeed. Out in 11th, let's keep tabs on who has the bigger numbers up here as well. You're talking about Besiktas, and it's a really good point to bring up. They do hold numbers, and they hold really nice ground in the southern side. They have Tomil a little bit further isolated on his own. We get a little bit of a replay for you guys here, kind of catching in on what the fights have been happening towards the more northern side. M19 finally did find someone to third party towards them. It took a little bit of time, and that circle is not going to assist the teams out towards the west. They've had a tough enough time as it was, and now suddenly things are about to get a whole lot worse.
You can't see it, but we can. Tommel now, from the position that Lauren was talking about, is actually pulling back to his team. And the reason he's doing this, they don't have to play a circle just yet. They can completely clear behind them, because where he was is a very pivotal point in this circle. They can play the edge, but they have to clear all the teams out behind them first. 1, 2, 3. We got 1 player from 7, 3 from Tornado Energy, and then 3 from Unity on their left-hand side. Compot will do a bit of damage to Tommel and force him back, but this may force the engagement now and force the hand of Unity to get involved. They might hear all these gunshots and say, well, you know what, third party, let's join in and have some fun.
Oh, the nade could be quite nice there as well. Just bouncing beyond. Trying to get that one. That one's there. Perfectly placed. And we are going to be seeing Frank around the slower side of things, slowly working forward. But it's not just Frank there. Scoom's just been found as well by Vitality. They're taking a lot of attention towards the middle. Haxeti is still alive, so it's not down and out just yet for them. But Unity are sweeping south to east. They're going to eventually kind of fold in towards this Besiktas tornado battle going on. A lot of teams being forced together now.
CrowCrowd can actually do Besiktas a big favor here. If they manage to take them down, M19 is gone, 10th position from them. No single-digit figures just yet. Ultra takes an off angle. Able to see them from this side of that hill, so Unity can be kept at gunpoint here, but it depends what Tornado and CrowCrowd do.
Coming in from Unity. They got the confirmation, I think, on M19, and yeah, exactly, killing spree comes out for them. They're finding their own to Besiktas. We theorized that was going to happen with the crunch coming into this one. Tornado all holding on for now. But again, it's a very, very dangerous southern side here. A lot of teams dancing the line. Besiktas have their remaining players in the circle here, but Vitality do get the confirmation on Scoom. That means that now they're just down to Haxeti. And Unity could sweep this one further forward. They've got a decent enough setup here to work their way in. Besiktas have already hit the deck. They're not feeling too confident, and I don't blame them. They've got the Tornado side on the eastern front. You've got Frank, the one remaining snake, towards the south, and Unity now moving forward towards Besiktas.
The second Sadovnik shot that M4 though, Lux just hit the deck and just turned him face with the AKM. Now they can hold point. Simsy opens up on Sadovnik. Off angle comes through from nowhere. Snoopy dinks him and confirms it, and just like that, Unity
done.
Banged out.
Yeah, out of nowhere. They overextended to an angle they just didn't expect. In the north, you can see the fire coming in now. The tracer fire from the likes of Calvin Klein coming through. The team that still has 4 players alive has great vision, and that's been proven. So wake up call to all the other teams in the south. You are not safe if you crest that hill. There are eyes on this one. Now New Circle going to come forward. Nice northern swing for the northern teams. However, more brutality towards the south. Tornado need to sweep through this one. Simsy and Lux still holding good high ground here. Kramer's gone down. That's the remainder of the Crows trying a bit of a battle here. Nades coming out. Compot still stands, but with only 4 HP, has to back away and heal. Bank on his teammates to help out. Natus around the side. The nade does it for him. That's from Shadow. That's going to confirm what he started. And again, this is still so brutal and messy, but look towards the north. We have aggressive sweeps. Hexeti is going to be in trouble soon. He might be found here, or he might get away with murder.
He's not even moving.
Breathe.
Whatever you do, don't
oh my God.
do anything, Hacks.
A little tickle.
Uh-oh. He's turned. Has he seen him?
No.
Oh,
I've not seen anything.
I'll tell you what, Camco won't be seeing a lot. That bullet hits him in the head. Job done. Puts him down for now, and he has to heal. Compot's just lingering in front of Lux here. Hacks is still sleeping in the distance. That's a good response, though. Camco from Spankino. Instants and knocks just before he goes down 7. They claim 7 spot. They pick up a point as well, so good job for him to go through with the confirmation.
Hexeti.
Uh-oh. And you're dead. Why is this snake in my house? Get out now.
Oh, there could have been a snake in the boot, but it wasn't to be. Hexeti does go down, and that is Reciprocity out, but they did push further forward. Besiktas just got eliminated as well. So here we go, down to the final 4 teams, and look who's left alive. A lot of snakes. Vitality in the north, holding a lot of ground, but only with 2. It's the team Slap Bang Center, kind of, more than anyone else right now, who has all the cards.
Vitality went after the solo player from CrowCrowd. Unfortunately, he managed to eliminate Kramer before they took him out. Fair enough, picks up an instant point, but it takes the man advantage away from Vitality. They're left standing at 50%. Same goes for Tornado Energy all the way down south. And then Snoopy just lingering for AVANGAR on the western embankment. Meanwhile, Desperados, they can play this 3-1 split that they have, send 3 in a line, hold the line, so to speak, and let Calvin Klein sit back and try and pick off any remnants of the teams. At the moment, he knows, surely he has the information because he's staring right at their position, so he has to know.
It, right? Ooh, Shadow.
And he also has just been gifted the circle, Lauren.
They have been, in case things couldn't be going better for themselves. So Shadow's trying to build a picture for himself, and he has to build a way through. The nades aren't going to be coming towards this side of things, so he's safe for now. He does have the time to get a couple of shots through, but it doesn't look like they're in the greatest of positions now. It's such a long way to run, and you've got all those snakes and all the remaining teams in the southern side, where it looks like they're going to try and find their avenue forward from.
Not going to be too much range on the side of Vitality as well, just as a note. You got AKM and Beryl, so you're running 7.62 up close and personal. I'd have to assume on Nasus he has a Scar, so he's using that for single fire, long range distance. All right, the DMR is good for Shadow, so it's jobbed on that one, but certainly no massive ranger weapon on the side of Nasus. So they need to make sure that, or at least hope that these teams do some damage to one another. That grenade, it doesn't go the way that Vitality wanted.
X-Team, just please don't crawl to me. Please, go away. Go away. I don't want another nade on me. Uh-oh. Oh, no. This is awful. Any more nades coming through could be so deadly. I guess for X-Team, if you're going to go to the exact same spot the nade just blew up, and you're going to hope they're not going to nade the exact same spot twice. I don't know about that.
Lightning meme.
And you just saw Snoopy there. He does have a great bit of vision. Now, obviously, last man standing, not ideal, but he could be doing a little bit of damage. He's hoping, obviously, the board gets swept beforehand.
He probably wants the rest of Desperados to engage so that he can strike onto the player that he has in his sights, take him out, and then work your way forward. When you're in a one-man situation like this, you have to go for that confirmation. There's no point in trying to fight the battle. Pick up the point, confirm the kill, and then move on to the next task in hand. It's an interesting one with Desperados. I mean, like you said, they're not quite front and center, but more than any other team. They've got this 2-2 split. It might be, as the circle shrinks smaller, it might be better to group up a little bit more, because Calvin Klein's left on his own now.
Snoopy is
about to bite.
Touching distance away. Calvin Klein turns it. Going to be hearing that snake crawling on the belly. Snoopy goes down. We are down to the top 3. Vitality Northeast. The entirety of the West is the Desperados, and South-ish is Tornado. So again, you got to be feeling the Desperados have this just purely off of the numbers game. If the engagements happen the right time, they get split. Hey, there's potential for anything. It's still PUBG.
Yeah, they have the 2-man advantage compared to any other team, but where do you split your resources here? Who do you go after first? Shadow opens up, Fake goes down. That might be the go symbol here for Tornado Energy. They've been held dead to rights by Calvin Klein. But again, this is what happens to Desperados. They have to commit to one fight. At the moment, they're looking back and forth. Where do we go?
You never want to be that team that... You want to be the third team, right? If you're Tornado, you want to be the third team to engage. You want more knocks. You want more damage. You want to hear more going on. You just want to let this play out as long as you can and then try and capitalize on what's remaining. And that's what they're doing here. Desperados are forced to fight. If they swing towards the center, then we're going to see exactly what's going to happen out from Tornado. But Vitality now showing their hand a little early could be a problem. But the Desperados need to keep moving forward. It's not like they have the best ground here either.
Been spotted. 2-1-2, one side. Compot's out. Zera. Nasus takes out the Remnants. One of them from Tornado Energy. So they're down to 1, 1-2, and a 4-man still standing. Up we go. Compot, though, knocks out 2 on his own. Doesn't get the confirmation. Shadow says, no, 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 not today, my friend. I'll pick up 2 instead.
This is a 2v2, Rich. This is still very possible. Oh, the angle's so good from the Desperados. They've gone on the southern side. Shadow turns it, though. It's down to a 1v1 here. Shadow, can he find the angle? He spots the smoke. He has the shot, but I don't think he got the kill. It would be the Desperados to pick up the win.
Takes it down to a 1-on-1 engagement.